There's no other way to say it. This person, Alex Rose, is responsible for ruining multiple people's lives. And for what? Now, Alex Rose is responsible for killing two men after he actively used his car as a weapon and drove in the wrong direction of a slip road in pursuit of two innocent men whom he wrongly believes were attempting to burgle his home. Alex's selfish actions got himself jailed for life. His own friend was jailed for life too, with a minimum term set at 29 years because he was sat in the passenger seat. And his girlfriend, whom stayed on the phone with him while he searched for the men he believed were attempting to break into his home, and the subsequent incident of ploughing his car into the two men, whom were just heading to the pub, and then driving away from the scene despite the two men suffering from catastrophic injuries. Now, Alex Rose, who worked as a landscape gardener, had been at home on Sunday, July 21st of 2024, when he saw figured shadows moving in the garden of his home and the manor garden's crescent at a time of roughly 11:40 p.m. Now, his garden actually backed on to the back of a college. Rather than check to see if the figured shadows were animals or objects that had fallen over, or check if any tools were stolen, windows broken or opened, or even shout, Alex Rose grabbed his phone. Only he did not dial 999 to report a potential crime. Rather, Alex grimaced, his heart beating, and he went into straight action mode, wanting to teach this so-called person who he believed were thieves a lesson. Now, it will prove detrimental, fatal even. So Alex called his mate, Charles Pardoe, and told him to swing round my house. Some guys have tried to break in, and we're going to find them. Charles and Alex were good friends. Charles didn't offer any life-saving advice, such as call the police. He didn't even question Alex. Instead, Charles made his way to Alex's home. Alex had the bigger car, a black pickup Ford Ranger. Now, Alex Rose was at the wheel and Charles Pardoe was in the passenger seat. The two men had driven around the local area for an hour at least when they spotted his victims. Now, when Alex Rose was taken to court and tried to battle for his freedom by trying to convince the judge and the jury that this was an accident and that he was an innocent man, he had not attempted to use his pickup as a weapon, did not intend to cause serious harm or tragically kill his victims. Now, one victim was actually pronounced dead at the scene. That gives you some kind of intel, some kind of idea of the pure force used to propel his victims off their e-bikes. Now, Alex's defense told the court he genuinely believed that the two victims were burglars who were on his land. Now, the victims were 21-year-old William Burchard and 22-year-old Darren George. The two men were riding a black Tarala Sting e-bike. Now, Alex and Charles had spotted William Burchard and Darren George and mistakenly believed that the men were part of a group that had been on Alex's Rose's home on Manor Gardens Crescent. But the court heard William and Darren had actually not been anywhere near the area, and they in fact had been out for drinks with friends. Again, rather than call 999, at this point Alex Rose revved his engine, drove his car, his pickup, menacingly in the direction of the two men. The dangerous and chaotic and treacherous chase took the four men through Green Street, around Sunbury Cross roundabout, and then Alex had hit speeds of over 63 miles per hour in 30 miles per hour zones. William and Darren were confused, but they were afraid, scared, petrified, not understanding why a pickup truck was trying to plow into the men. So Darren and William travelled along the wrong way of the roundabout and then drove down a slip road in the wrong direction towards the A316 M3. They were trying to escape. Now, this did not deter Alex Rose because Alex Rose followed along on the wrong side of the road. Despite being engaged in a dangerous pursuit, Alex Rose was on the phone to his girlfriend Tara Nags at the time, and he was relaying information as to what he was doing. At no point did Tara tell Alex to stop the chase, stop the pursuit and go home or call 999. Now, a few minutes before 1 a.m. on Monday, July 22nd, Alex Rose, spurred on by his mate, stomped on the acceleration pedal. The pickup truck lurched forward, and the car shortening the distance between the e-bike riders and itself. and that was when Alex Rolls ploughed into the young men at high speed. Both William Burchard and Darren George were launched off their e-bikes. The two men had actually flown through the air, rolled, tumbled, spun, before eventually stopping on the tarmac. These injuries were so severe, catastrophic, unsurvivable, bluntly. As William and Darren lay dying on the road on the slip road, Alex then braked, he turned the wheel and then performed a 3-point turn, and then fled the scene. He didn't care that these men were laying in the ground. Now at this point, William Burchard had died at the scene. William had suffered fractures to his face and skull. His brain was properly damaged. Now, a lorry driver was said to have been distraught at seeing two men laying in the street, and that was when they called the police. 999 was called, and they were told to attend the slip road between the southbound A316 and the junction of the M3. They was also told that this was a serious incident and emergency services were needed, including trauma doctors. Now, while William was declared dead, Darren George was rushed to hospital, but he tragically was pronounced dead later on. It has to be said that at no point of committing the M did Alex Rolls make any effort or attempt to ensure that the people he was chasing had actually been on his property. Now, after the incident, Alex Rolls then parked his pickup truck in the street. He then ran home as fast as he could, changed his clothes, and then had a drink. Afterwards, he then reported his pickup truck stolen to the police. Now, Alex knew that he had seriously injured his victim, and, at the very worst, potentially killed them. The act of reporting his pickup truck stolen was to ensure, even if his pickup truck was linked to the two deaths, then, fingers crossed, Alex and Charles Pardoe would be exempt. He even obtained a crime reference number. Now, Alex Rolls was smart, however, he knew an investigation would likely take place, so rather than wait around or give a statement to the police, Alex instructed his girlfriend, Tara Nags, to buy tickets to Thailand. While he emptied his savings and packed a small bag, Alex managed to gather up a total of £4,000 in cash. Now, this was in a span of less than 24 hours. However, paranoia kicked in. While travelling to Birmingham Airport, Tara attempted to book tickets to Thailand. The purchase would not go through, and the couple had to settle for one-way tickets to Istanbul. However, Alex Rolls could not foresee that police had already received intel that the stolen pickup truck report was fake and that Alex was attempting to flee the country with his girlfriend. Now, Tara knew exactly what Alex Rolls had done, the fact that he had killed two men, two innocent men, but she was determined to stick by her partner, for better or worse. Now, Tara even made up a cover story, just in case, and she told friends and family that Alex Rolls was surprising her with an impromptu getaway for her birthday. Now, police intercepted both Tara and Alex while they were in Birmingham Airport Lounge, and of course, it's no understatement to say that they were surprised. No luggage was found, but police did discover the £4,000 in cash on Alex. Charles Pardoe was arrested 2 days later. Now, in court, Alex Rolls denied 2 counts of M, and again, his defense rested on the fact that he genuinely believed that these two men had potentially been on his property. But again, there was no fact-checking. The fact remains this: Alex Rolls had engaged in a pursuit with 2 innocent men, whom were ambushed. He had reached speeds of over 60 miles per hour and then ploughed into the 2 men whom were technically vulnerable road users, as they were on e-bikes. That act was deliberate and intentional. Charles Pardoe was in the passenger seat, and he did not talk any sense into his mate Alex. Charles had also assisted in the search, and this made him just as responsible, just as guilty. Now, Tara Nags had attempted to help her boyfriend flee the country by purchasing one-way flight tickets, and had listened to the M take place without calling police. Now, at the trial in Guildford Crown Court, the court heard that neither George or William had been anywhere near Alex Rolls' address, and they were on the way to the pub in Ashford. Now again, the jury says that both Alex Rolls and Charles Pardoe were guilty on 2 counts of the M. Alex Rolls was jailed for life, and he was told that he would have to serve a minimum term of 34 years in jail. Charles Pardoe was told that he would be jailed for life too, with a minimum term set at 29 years. And of course, Alex's girlfriend was jailed for 3 years for assisting an offender. Does the crime match the sentence? Let me know. And as always, condolences. Stay safe. Safe.